Well, I can see how this went off the rails. Like, before it even started, wear your favorite porn watching shirt, I said to myself. Who's going to notice the difference? Thanks for letting that cat out of the bag, Kathy. To be honest, I thought I was going to be nervous up here, but I think that 6-pound burrito really helped to calm things down. So thank you, whoever put that menu together. That was great. Looking out over the crowd, I am confident that if I need a Depends undergarment at any point up here, you got me covered. So that helps. Thank you. I'm also nervous up here because sitting at my table is my 87-year-old mom. Well, there's more to this joke. She's sitting there with her rosary in hand, monitoring this to make sure I don't swear. Also sitting at my table is a very important client. She said, I'm not coming at all if you don't drop the F-bomb every other word. So I'm fucked either way. How that works out. Thank you all for showing up to Mount Hawley Country Club tonight. Thank you all for coming to our kickoff for our new Mount Hawley cryptocurrency. By attending here tonight, you have authorized us to convert your retirement savings into this new exciting investment vehicle. We're going to spend the next 3 hours talking about everything that we've got in store for you. It's off to a bit of a rocky start, mainly because Michael Pace still thinks that Blockchain is his favorite boy band. But fear not, I did sign exclusive partnership agreements with FTX and Silicon Valley Bank, so we will have the value of your savings account back up above zero here in no time at all. That's just kind of a year it's been, though. You guys having a good year?
Yes.
Oh, me? Oh, we're gonna have to wait all night. I was having a good year. I was sailing along, enjoying all the rights and privileges of being the duly elected president of Mount Hawley Country Club. You know, the pageantry, the state dinners, the ancient rite of prima noctura. It's a Braveheart joke. And then came election day, and then came the phone call. The voters have spoken, they said. You're out. You've been outvoted by Sleepy Brad Chambers. Allegedly. I would like to thank all of my supporters, particularly the ones that tried to storm Michael Pace's office while he was counting the votes. You are true patriots, every one of you. I'm not taking it lying down, though. I have refocused my energy on composing my presidential memoirs. Volume 1 will be more of a coffee table book. The working title is Hot Moms I've Seen at the Mount Hawley Pool. That's coming out this summer. In Volume 2, I will trace my historic rise to the presidency. It's funny to think about now, but back then there was a lot of naysayers, a lot of people who said I didn't have what it took to be president. I think we realize now that they're wrong. For instance, from a young age, one of my favorite things to do was always to sneak up and sniff women's hair. My wife would definitely prefer that I be locked in the basement as much as humanly possible. And while I've never met the Pope, I'm quite sure I would shit my pants if I ever did. Just like Joe Biden did. Take out your phone, Google it. Pro tip, Kathy, this is a Republican club. But I want to be bipartisan, so I do want to emphasize that throughout my administration, I was a strong proponent of a fair living wage for every porn star I slept with. Volume 3 will address my legacy in foreign affairs. I'm very proud of the fact that not once during my administration was Ukraine invaded by the country club of Peoria. Not on my watch. I am also very proud that my administration not only maintained but expanded both the age and hotness gap we enjoy over the CCFP. I'm not kidding. You guys been over there? They old and they ugly. Place makes The Walking Dead look like spring break in Daytona Beach. I've seen less Botox in a Real Housewives reunion special. They've had more work done than an HGTV marathon. They got more X's than a Ron Jeremy film festival. All right, I'll stop. No, I won't. They thought they had developed one of those spy balloons. Turned out it was somebody's colostomy bag floating in the pool. And do not get me started on those CCFP kids. It's like Abercrombie and Fitch and Children of the Corn. We got any Country Club of Peoria kids here tonight? Don't be shy. Yeah, they're probably out in the parking lot checking your car for loose change and cigarettes. Yeah. So, it's been kind of a weird world that we live in. How about a round of applause, speaking of which, for Lindsay, Sonenthal, and Kathy Brennan. Lou, I don't know about you, but it's everybody's dream, every comedian's dream to have the people that go in front of you be funnier than you are. So, I feel like I dropped into an episode of The View up here tonight. Got real Xena the Warrior Princess energy going on here. Yeah. Like somebody set off a Melissa Etheridge concert when I wasn't looking. Settle down. But we men, we're a clever bunch. This reminds me of something I saw on Instagram. My niece posted this. One of these memes. I think it was for Women's History Month or something. It said, "The rise of women doesn't have to mean the downfall of men." Yeah. I think you know where this is going. I don't know what dickless beta male thought that up, but I, for one, could not disagree more. Come on over to my house and try to grab the TV remote while my wife's watching an episode of Blue Bloods. Your ass is going to see the downfall of man real quick. Like I said, we're a clever bunch. We saw the writing on the wall, we did, so we put our heads together, decided, hey, how about if we just all identify as women? Boom, back on top. We're fucking women of the year and everything, aren't we? Here's how far we've gone. Recently, my lovely wife and I, we took a trip out to Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City, it's not exactly the Castro district of San Francisco. We go to lunch right downtown. Sit down, here comes our waiter, and honest to God, it's a dude in a dress. Fetching little mini skirt, legs to die for, the hair, the makeup, the whole thing. I couldn't believe it. I mean, here we are right in the shadow of Mitt Romney's hair, and here's this guy. Never seen such a thing, so I looked the guy dead straight in the eye, and I told him point blank, I said, I'll have the grilled chicken, hold the lettuce, extra pickle, no pun intended. You see, it was in that moment that I realized we're all adults. As long as you get my food to me, keep my iced tea filled, I don't give a shit what you dress up as. You come back dressed as Barney the dinosaur, do not care. Now, the one area in which I think my waiter and I might disagree is I'm 55 years old. I know. I'm 55, and my family doesn't trust me with the Amazon account after I've had more than 2 beers. And yet I'm to understand that a 4th grader is competent to make these life-altering decisions. I'm sorry, I just don't quite get that. Put it this way, earlier this year, Leonardo DiCaprio, he took a bunch of shit because he was dating a girl who was 19. Do you guys remember this? Everybody's freaking out. Like, he's 46, she's 19. So what's the problem? So people are like, well, she's only 19. She can't understand the multiple implications of dating someone who's 27 years older than her. Fair enough. But apparently if she built a time machine and went back 10 years and said she's a boy, we'd be throwing a parade for her. That's how that works. Here's where we are as a society. On that same trip, we're walking through the airport on our way out there. I look over, plain as day, here's a guy sitting there, right in the middle of everything, watching porn on his phone. I'm not kidding. I grabbed the first security guard I could find, said, hey, go find out what that guy's data plan is. So I'm like, I can't make it through half an episode of Genital Hospital without my phone melting down. Probably that stupid Boingo hotspot. Kathy, I did have a question for your husband, though. When I saw him there in the airport, I was just wondering, what is your end game sitting here in the middle of 300 people in O'Hare Airport? I'm not quite sure you understand how this porn thing works. It just goes to show you there's some people you just can't take anywhere. There's a guy I know, you go to lunch with him, the first question he asks every time is, do you have any Mr. Pibb? Mr. Pibb. General reaction from the waitstaff is something along the lines of, What are you, fucking 12 years old? No, we don't have any Mr. Pibb. We also don't have any clown balloons or one of those inflatable jumpy houses. So do you want to order, or do you want to take some time to reconsider your decision to come here in the first place? It's a real buzzkill. He's a real Mr. Pibb apologist, though, this guy. It's 23 flavors, he'll tell you. To which I always say, well, when's the last time you ordered a pizza and said, you know what, just give me your 23 most popular toppings. Just dump them all on there. I mean, you get up into hippie weirdo stuff like pineapple and anchovies, and you still got a dozen to go. Get up into the high teens, now you're into like motor oil and toenail clippings. Oh, geez. Didn't realize we're so sensitive over here. Let's change subjects. Saw an article recently, the headline said, doctors are concerned because the average male endowment has increased 30% over the last 25 years. Sounds like somebody's ordering a $5 footlong on the way home. My question, though, is who was the guy sitting in that room when it came time to really drill down into the hard data, raised his hand and said, I, for one, am concerned about this disturbing growth trend. The whole room of doctors looking at this guy going, what is it now, Dr. Microdick? Catherine, I don't want to disappoint you, but I have to point out your husband is over 50 years old, so you missed this window of opportunity by about a quarter century. Your grandkids might be walking around like human tripods, but you're going home with the same original factory equipment that you signed up for. I got distracted. I meant to mention this, going back to my legacy in foreign policy. Probably the most important part. We did walk right up to the abyss at one point. Real Cuban Missile Crisis type situation. I finally had to pick up that red phone, make that call, talk to my counterpart over there at CCFP. I told them, you guys step 1 foot in the Crimean Peninsula, and we will deploy the ultimate deterrent. We will purchase a lifetime membership for Mark Scott over there. They were begging for tactical nukes at that point. We got any cat lovers here tonight? Yeah, well. All right, we got bad news. This here's a dog club. I know you think it's cute how Mr. Biddles jumps up on the counter and pisses in your food and you're not looking, but nobody here wants to talk about it. Here at Mount Hawley, we love dogs and guns and America, golf, boobs, not necessarily in that order. People say you're either a cat person or a dog person. I disagree. I say you're either a dog person who lets the dog sleep in the bed with you, or you hate America. Who do we got in the first category? Who's our dog in the bed people? Yeah. They've actually studied this. There are multiple health benefits to having a dog sleep in bed with you. This is true. It helps to regulate your body temperature. It helps to even out your breathing. It promotes a deeper, more satisfying sleep. It's true. In fact, the only downside they can identify to having a dog in the bed is that it substantially increases your likelihood of contracting tapeworms. Everybody's like, is that why it itches when I poo? Rachel Colgan, I saw you had your hand up. What's your dog's name? Tiki. It's a good dog name. Get over here, Tiki, before I beat your fucking brains in. I gotta drill down on this a little bit. Is Tiki a sleeps in the bed all the time kind of dog, if you know what I'm talking about? I don't believe you. I've seen Tiki. Dogs walking around look like a background actor from the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan. Poor dog's got that 1,000-yard stare. When you guys go to bed tonight, say a prayer for Tiki. And Rob, for that matter. Shit, say a prayer for all of us. While you're going to bed, poor Tiki's up on the pillow, like that little guy that sits at the front of the rowing crew boat. Harder, faster! I don't mean to single you out. We actually did that 23andMe this year. We found out that our kids are 28% Irish, 22% German, 50% mixed breed scent hound. So, you know which of those groups we fall into. My dog learned a valuable lesson this year. For 14 years, my dog identified as someone who loves to eat shit out in the yard. And what he learned is that after 14 years of doing that, it will eventually block up your stomach and kill you. Yeah. It's like they say, every one of us, we don't like to think about it, but somewhere out there, there's a turd with your name on it. He eventually found his big old Cadbury thing. Chewy on the outside, liquid core. Died what he loved doing most. 14 years we cried out to heaven. Said, sweet Jesus, could there be anything worse than a dog who eats shit all day long? He answered that prayer. He said, yeah, 2 dogs who eat shit. Before I continue, though, in his defense, I do want to say this. Despite what you might think, he actually had a fairly sophisticated palate, my dog. He was very partial to his sister's cooking. Preferred his meals fresh out of the oven, if you get my meaning. No 5-second rule where he came from. Could be COVID in the grass, can't be too safe. Yeah, he was a real farm-to-table guy, this guy. Anyhow, I digress. Our prayer was answered. We find out now we've got 2 shit-eating dogs. So here's how it goes in our family. Every morning I wake up, feed these 2, let them out on the invisible fence. They run right out, they stare straight into the rising sun, almost as if they can sense their dearly departed brother watching over them. Then they run off into the yard and bury their faces in the biggest pile of semi-liquid stool they can find. We have a little contest every morning. After they're done, we see which one of us can run back up to the bed and lick my wife's face the fastest. I know how sensitive kids can be, so I usually let them win. So we cried out to heaven again. Sweet Jesus, could there be anything worse than two dogs who eat shit and lick your face? And there was silence. And then there was a knock on the door. And standing there was my daughter, dropping off her dog for a 2-week staycation. Now my daughter's dog is a beagle. At least we think that's what is under the 95% body fat. Chunky, as we call him. Chunky is jet black. Black as pitch, this dog. And over the course of 2 weeks, slowly at first, then unavoidably, we identified particular skill Chunky has that I'm pretty sure he does better than any dog on earth. How do I put this? You know the Viagra commercial where they talk about 4 hours? They should cut away to a picture of Chunky, because my boy Chunky be sitting there going, dude, hold my beer, because I'm just getting started at 4 hours. I'm talking like relentless Chunky. And he's been fixed. I appreciate his effort. But for 2 weeks, I'd be sitting around the house minding my own business, and then I'd sense a presence in the room. With fear in my eyes, I'd look around, and there'd be Chunky sitting on the ottoman right in front of me. Don't know when he got there, don't know how long he's been there. He's just sitting there, staring at me, looking like a little miniature Darth Vader getting ready for the final battle with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Apparently, me looking at my iPad is pretty exciting. I finally went to complain to my wife. I said, honey, do you see what I'm dealing with over here? And she said, yeah, now do you know what I feel like when you sit there watching me make dinner every night? In my defense, she is wearing yoga pants most of the time. It's what we lawyers call contributory negligence on her part. It's not all fun and games with our dogs, though. Recently, my lovely wife got fed up with this shit-eating business, so she decided I'm going to take the dogs out on their leash, keep an eye on them. So she hooks them up to these 16-foot retractable leashes. There's only 2 problems with this whole thing. One is she didn't tell the dogs this plan. 2, the newer of these 2 dogs is this feral stray we picked up a couple of years ago. This dog looks like what you'd get if Mike Tyson had a baby with Dwight Howard. And the thing came out with a cinder block for a head. So she opens that door, 55 pounds of coiled steel, breaks into a dead sprint. Things go okay for about 15.9 feet. That's right when this dog hits her cruising speed of about 45 miles an hour. About 750 foot-pounds of velocity, and then she hits the end of the leash. Yanks my wife's arm halfway out of the socket, bashes her face into the door frame. The dog's okay. By the time I got home, my lovely wife had the world's biggest black eye. It's really more like purple, yellow, green, red, black eye, depending on which day of the week it was. It's a real Chris Brown looking thing. That's when I realized it's a different world out there. It's a lot more judgy when you're walking around with a wife with a black eye. I realized also that the longer it takes you to explain how this happened, that is inversely proportional to the likelihood people are going to believe you. I could usually make it to about chapter 2 of that story and people are digging into their pocket trying to dial 911 without looking. So I realized I got to tighten this up. I got to come up with a faster story. So briefly, I considered what I called the honeymooners explanation. You know, well, came home, didn't have dinner on the table. Problem is that if anybody that knows my wife knows if I so much as thought about that, I'd be on a transition journey of my own. So that didn't work. So then I came up with the perfect story. After that, people would ask, I'd say, yeah, she got into a fight with a waitress. Bitch tried to pass off last year's Kim Crawford as this year's. Anyone who knows my wife is like, no, yeah, that makes perfect sense. See, we don't like to talk about it a lot in our family, but my lovely wife was born under a curse. See, at the moment she was born, a gypsy fortune teller somewhere cried out and said, so long as you shall walk this earth, every food order you ever place at any restaurant will be prepared wrong. No exceptions. I'm serious. She could order a glass of ice water and they'd come back with like shredded wheat with mayonnaise on top. I mean, it's that bad. Now, I'm a problem solver, so from time to time, I have delicately said, you know, what I've heard some people do is just order right what's on the menu. But no. Guys, tell me if this sounds familiar. That waitress comes around and what she gets is, I'll have the chicken Cobb salad, hold the chicken, hold the Cobb, no onions. Substitute salmon, I want the salmon grilled but also baked. Faroe Island only, and I want it seasoned on the dorsal fin side. Cubed, not sliced. I want my croutons arranged in a semicircle on the left side of the plate. Substitute iceberg lettuce for French fries. I want extra dressing on the side. Served by a helper monkey. Wearing one of those little bellhop hats. And then the wait begins. After 10 minutes, here it comes. And then the audit begins. You know that scene in every movie where they're trying to figure out which wire to snip to keep the bomb from going off? That's me and my girls watching this. We're sweating bullets. And inevitably the verdict is rendered. This is completely wrong. I'm like, oh, sweetie, however did they get that wrong? Well, to start with, I clearly said a helper monkey, and that was a chimpanzee. No, I don't want them to remake it. You guys just go ahead and eat. I'll just sit here and pick around at my shredded wheat and mayonnaise. You guys have been great tonight. We've been married for 30 years next month. Somebody told me the average marriage in America only lasts 8 years. Yeah, so I was thinking like, shit, I could be working on wife number 4 now. This is a true fact. We were married on May 22nd of 1993. And it so happens that Eric and Michelle Webb were married on the exact same day. As were Michael and Alex Pace. Dude, that was the greatest swinger convention ever that day. You guys have been great. Thank you.